it going, everyone? Chris here, and welcome to a different kind of video because today we are going to be talking all about Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Now, I'm sure that if you guys have been following the internet, I'm sure if you've looked at Twitter or Reddit or basically anywhere else, you guys have probably noticed the hashtag Remaster Thousand-Year Door. Well guys, I decided to go ahead and talk to you all about why I want to see this iconic game revived and put on the Nintendo Switch because it does hold a very special place in my heart. Now, one of the things I want you guys to do is after this video, I have compelled you guys to go ahead and want to see Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door on the Switch. Go ahead and check out the description where you will find a change.org where you can sign your name to help make Nintendo see how badly we want this game. Now, you can also go onto Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that and use the hashtag Remaster Thousand Year Door. And guys, I know what you guys are saying. Well, you only have 20,000 subscribers. Like, there's no way that you're gonna make any kind of difference. But guys, any difference in the world helps. Like, seriously, this game needs to be remade as soon as possible. So let me go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about my history with this amazing game. Now, over the course of my 22 years, I have played basically every single Nintendo console at some point or another. Now, I think my very first Nintendo console was a Super Nintendo or NES, but I was way too young to remember those, so my first real console was the Nintendo 64. Now, I remember playing through games such as Super Mario 64, The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and a couple others with my dad, but the game that always stuck out to me was Paper Mario for the Nintendo 64, and let me just tell you guys, even though I had absolutely no idea what was going on, I just loved everything about that game. Now, when I say that I played most of these games with my dad, I mean he did most of the playing and I did most of the watching, but it was still super cool to learn about all the different characters that I've never seen in Mario before. Now, flash forward a couple of years later, and Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door finally gets announced. Now, at the time, I was a kid who didn't have my own money, so I unfortunately couldn't get it on release date, but once I eventually had a GameCube, I remember a fateful Christmas evening. Now, what my family does on Christmas Eve is we all get together and we exchange gifts. Well, I remember very specifically one night, my aunt and uncle decided to go ahead and buy me a new Nintendo GameCube game, because at the time, that was all I wanted. Like, my mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, and uncle, all they bought me were video games for Christmas and birthdays, because I didn't really care about money. I mean, who needs that when you could be playing Mario Sunshine on the Nintendo GameCube? Anyways, so after I finally got this game, I sat down and I ripped open the wrapping, and what do you know was under it but Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. And as soon as I got home later that night, I decided to plug it into my GameCube and played for about a half an hour before my mom sent me off to bed. That night, I ended up having dreams about Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. Now, keep in mind, I only made it up to the point where we met Goombella, but still, I was dreaming about it all night. All the different stuff I was going to be able to do and all the different places I was going to be able to explore, because I studied that game's trailer more than I studied, in school. I loved Paper Mario, and this game was amazing right off the bat. Now, after I woke up that next morning, I did not pay attention to any of my other Christmas presents at all. I decided to focus 100% on Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, so while my brother and sister were opening up their gifts, I was playing Paper Mario on the GameCube in the living room. I thought it was super fun, and honestly, none of the gifts even hailed in comparison to this. This was the definitive best gift I got. Now, I ended up beating that game. Well, by beating, I mean I made it all the way up to the Shadow Queen, and then I was actually never able to beat the final boss. Flash forward a couple of years later, and I decided to pick up my favorite Nintendo GameCube game besides Wind Waker once again. A couple of years later, I finally get the Nintendo Wii, and I'm happy to find out that this thing is actually backwards compatible. So, I decided to go ahead and pop Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door in there because at the time, all I had was Wii Sports and a couple of other kind of boring games. I didn't get Twilight Princess, unfortunately, I know. Really wanted it at launch, but my dad thought it was too mature for me. Now I realize he was 100% wrong, but whatever. Anyways, so I decided to play Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door again, and oh my goodness, it was amazing. All of the subtle jokes that originally went over my head as a kid started flooding in, and there were parts where I was actually laughing out loud. I was having so much fun with this game, and it was just amazing. I decided to play through the entire game, and oh my goodness, just everything about it was absolutely amazing. You have amazing characters. You have Mario. First of all, I think Paper Mario is one of the best looking versions of Mario in my opinion. And also, you have the amazing array of partners. You had the baby Yoshi that you actually got to hatch and then use at the Glitz Pit. You had Vivian, who had a tragic backstory of getting disowned by her sisters. You had Flurry. You had all of these great characters. Bobberry, Miss Meow, every single one of them was absolutely amazing and funny at the same time. Now, I originally loved the original Paper Mario characters. I loved all the partners and everything else like that. But the Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door world just felt so much more alive. Like, the colors were more vibrant. The bosses were hilarious and at the same time very difficult. Like, beating a boss in that game was not easy at all, and when you eventually got your Crystal Star, you felt like you had won the lottery. I tell you what, especially like as a kid when I didn't know anything about badge power or anything else like that, I just maxed out my HP and then did nothing else. Like, that was extremely satisfying. So now coming back and like learning how to use the mechanics and everything else like that, like, I am just astounded that this game has not already been remade. Flash forward a couple years later, and then the next Paper Mario game is finally announced, Super Paper Mario. Now at first, I was absolutely ecstatic to get my hands on this game. I couldn't wait. I remember very clearly going to GameStop at midnight for the midnight launch, and I was surrounded by other Paper Mario fans, all so excited and talking about the new characters and everything else like that. And I have to say that as soon as I got home and started playing it, I was not a huge fan at all. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of the characters were really cool, and they had a lot of really cool dialogue and jokes, but why did they get rid of the RPG battle style? Instead of going ahead and getting into a battle with different enemies, all you had to do was jump on them in the outside world, just like in normal Mario, and although they had HP and everything else like that, it wasn't satisfying at all. Now, the game was definitely okay, but it's not one that I'd go back to at all. I went ahead, I played through the entire game, I beat it, and now I'm done with it. Now it just sits comfortably on my shelf, while Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door and the original are still something I go back to even this day. Now we flash forward a little bit further, and then Paper Mario Sticker Star comes to the Nintendo 3DS. Now, this is often hailed as probably the worst Paper Mario game of all time, and honestly, I have to agree. Like, going from Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door to Super Paper Mario was bad enough, but going from Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door over to Sticker Star was just absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, where were all of the fun, wacky characters? Why was there a world map? Like, this game just didn't make any sense at all. Like, yeah, I understand they had to make it a little bit easier because the 3DS target demographic was kids, but they made it so easy. I beat that game in like a day. Like, I didn't even really like it all that much, but I spent my $40 on it, so I figured I may as well beat it. And guys, the second I beat that game, I went right back to GameStop and I traded it back in. I ended up paying $40 for it, got like 20 bucks back, and you know what? If I could do it all over again, I probably never would have even bought Sticker Star in the first place. And finally, we come to the most recent Paper Mario Color Splash. Now, I know that there's a lot of really mixed opinions about this game, but I'm just going to come right out and say it, I didn't like that game very much at all. I enjoyed some of it, but honestly, I didn't make it very far in when I decided to just give up. Like, after playing Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door for probably the 10th or 11th time at this point, and then going on to something that was way worse in every single way, I just couldn't do it. I mean, I was just so done with Paper Mario at this point. So Nintendo, if you are listening to this, please hear our cries. Please remaster Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. For those of us who haven't already gotten to play this game, it is probably one of the best games you have ever made, and I honestly think that that's something that's showing right now. Everybody wants to see this game be remade, and it would go perfect on the Nintendo Switch. I mean, if you wanted to go ahead and buy Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door right now, yeah, you could go on eBay and spend $100, but be realistic with yourself. Why would anybody on Earth ever want to do that? I don't think you guys should just go ahead and put a port on the Nintendo Switch. I think that it does need to be upgraded in some ways, but I'm sure that if you put this game on the Nintendo Switch, you would see exactly the kind of version of Paper Mario that we the fans really want, and that we the fans are willing to spend money on. Like, yeah, I understand that you're treating Paper Mario as kind of a side project right now, but this game means so much to so many different people. If it didn't, would we have gotten Remaster the Thousand Year Door trending on Twitter? No. This game obviously means so much to all of us different people, so please Nintendo, please at the very least consider bringing this game over to the Nintendo Switch, and I guarantee you are going to make tons and tons of people extremely happy. One thing that I can tell you though, Nintendo, is that if you do end up making another Paper Mario like Sticker Star or Color Splash, I will not be buying it. I can't go through this anymore. Every single time I get a brand new Paper Mario game, I always get so excited, but for the past two, I haven't been at all. GameStop doesn't even do midnight releases for Paper Mario anymore because the game just doesn't have any hype around it anymore at all. You're treating this as a side project when this should be just as important as your regular Marios and Zelda. So please Nintendo, please bring it back to its roots. Please hashtag remaster the Thousand Year Door. Thank you.